Liza Lucas live for us there. 11 Alive's Doug Richards continuing our team coverage live in Henry County for us. So, Doug, we know the National Weather Service surveyed the damage there. They determined an EF2 tornado or higher hit that area. What else did they find?
Well, they found that the tornado had struck down, obviously, in this neighborhood where you have seen, where we have seen a number of houses damaged, and behind me, of course, one house fully torn apart where the storm picked up a young man and threw him a couple hundred feet away. Residents say the daylight storm was an extraordinary and frightening thing to watch.
I'm always fascinated by heavy rain.
Curtis Bryant thought it was just another spring storm until he poked his head outside and saw the funnel.
You just see just like a funnel just move right on through like a vacuum cleaner.
It was crossing his neighbor's property.
I can't believe this is actually happening.
Bryant's house was undamaged. His neighbors up the street were much less fortunate.
So far, we know it's a tornado.
Meteorologist Keith Stellman led a team from the National Weather Service into the neighborhood to document and classify the severity and the damage.
It's a little more than I was expecting in this one particular location, but tornadoes can do some really crazy things, especially once the wind gets in the house.
Stellman says much of their evidence comes from the damage done to trees, which have predictable breaking points during tornadic winds.
And so we use all of those tools to come up with and fine-tune into a wind speed.
As scientists work to define the strength of the storm, Brian says his eyes and ears told him all he needed to know.
I'm thinking never saw anything like that, only on TV.
National Weather Service meteorologists calculated that the top wind speed was 137 miles an hour, that it was an EF2 tornado, and they continued to crunch the data late into the afternoon from the tornado here in Locust Grove.
And Doug, do we know what type of data that they're crunching?
Well, yeah, one of the things they're doing is what they call wind engineering, and what they do is they look at the thickness of tree trunks that have snapped and calculate how much wind it takes to snap a trunk of that size with the kind of wind resistance that it has. And it sounds like there's a formula that they follow based just on the damage that they see to trees.
All right, Doug Richards live for us. Thank you so much for breaking that down.
Now let's continue.